founder of Tradespoon, and today we're going to have our weekly Strategy Roundtable discussion where we talk about current market conditions and answer any questions you might have. For those of you who are new, welcome. If this is your first live event, do me a favor, type in first inside of the questions. Just type in if you can hear me, or if you're new, that would be great. BJ, welcome. BJ, can you hear me? Can you type in if you can hear me or not? That's my background. You know, there are a few new names actually right now. Let's see. Martin, welcome. Martin. And Jay Rudizil. All right, welcome. So there are a few new names. Type in inside of the questions if you can hear me, or if this is your first live event. My background is I was a CEO and CTO of several publicly traded companies in fintech space. Building technology and models and AI for financial industry, specifically for broker-dealers and hedge funds. Optional Express was my first experience. Keith Harwood, who joined me about 2 years ago, he has a background in managing portfolios, market making. He's an expert in options trading. So between two of us, we add both technology and AI that generate signals and using models, and then portfolio management. And by participating in live trading room, you can always learn or find new signals. And Keith also does one-on-one consultation. So if you have time, please contact him. Disclosures are very important. I'm going to go to specific trade ideas. So please read the disclosures. BJ, can you type in if you can hear me inside of the questions? For some reason, I don't see any questions. Usually there's some, so I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Let's see, settings, audio. Okay, I mean, it shows that I am by default boost. No, maybe you cannot hear me. No, but I do microphone. Yeah, so okay. So I am using microphone. Okay. Renata, type in inside of the questions if you can hear me. All right, so before I can hear. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Finally, thank you. So let's go over the current market conditions. So we have a lot of people, so market is pulling back. That's usually when people show up. That's good. So nomination, worst nomination, right? Is it even made the news? I need to start. Expected yields advance after hotter than expected producer prices. Let's see. Friday we do have core PPI for December. Okay, so we did have PPI come in a little bit hotter than expected, and loan bonds fall as Trump confirms Warsh as next Fed chair. Right. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a new signal. I'm looking at the weekly chart for 10-year yield, but it is a pattern of higher highs and higher lows. And I think if we do break above 430, right, we go to 440, 460, 450 on 10-year yield, that could be at least short-term a pullback, right? So this is the time to raise cash, right? Sell some of your long positions, add to your short positions, buy put spreads. Sell calls, something that can decrease your exposure to the market, right? Decrease that portfolio delta. So that's the 10-year yield for now, still grinding higher. VIX slightly elevated, nothing, out of ordinary. QQQ down 0.5%. QQQ retested all-time highs this week, but again, the reaction to the earnings for now is underwhelming. Right, we've seen Microsoft sold off, the second worst reaction to the earnings news in history of Microsoft. Meta did well, Seagate Technology did well, SanDisk today did well. So you have some winners, right? You have some losers, mixed results, but QQQ is unable to break through all-time highs. And Spiders is made marginal new highs, but also unable to break out, right? I'm usually looking at SPX. Where is SPX, right? And it's unable to break to the 7,000. So as long as we're below 7,000, I would consider raising cash because we could get to 6,800, 6,900. Last week we were at 6,800, right? And then if 6,800 doesn't hold, then it's 6,500. So I would concentrate on, at this point, maybe raising cash. You can see silver is reacting to the harder than expected, BJ, thank you, harder than expected inflation data, right? Silver is reacting, just hasn't been translated into the bond market. But you know, if it does, then then bond and equity will follow. It definitely translated into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is retesting November lows, right, and 2025 lows. So a very important level, 80,000. If 80,000 doesn't hold, next level is probably 70,000, right? So I would watch the Bitcoin. The kind of market is nervous. You can see it in silver. You can see it in Bitcoin. Next is if 10-year breaks above 440, then bigger pullback. Japan, US dollar is weak, right? Another development is weak US dollar, right? As soon as Trump says that he wants weak US dollar, and he doesn't mind that, you have a breakdown, right? Breakdown below 2025 lows. I mean, you have to go back to 22, I think. Right, you have to go back to 22 to see dollar so weak, right? So some areas concern VIX, not elevated. I mean, slightly elevated, 17, but nothing out of ordinary. We're still trading near all-time highs. Small caps down week right after a strong start of the year, and strong, since April. It was one of the leading asset classes. So small caps down today, but still doing well. All right, so what to expect in the next months, right? I mean, you can look at stock forecast toolbox. Our main model, basically neutral, saying that what is the positive news that can carry the market above 7,000 on SPX, right? We were looking at silver exposure during live trading room a moment ago. Some of you were there. But SPX, right? The main overhead resistance, we talked about it for the past several months, 7,000 on SPX. And we retested it today again and got rejected a couple times, right? So this main concentration is 7,000. It's here to stay till February expiration. Actually, majority of contracts are in March expiration. So I think market is going to have hard time breaking through the 7,000. Earnings season already behind us, half of them at least. I don't think, Amazon and Google is going to move the needle, or Nvidia at this point. So we know about earnings. We know inflation ticked up. We know Warsh is more hawkish, and he wants to fight the inflation by raising rates. And the entire rally of silver and small caps and emerging market was under assumption that interest rates are going to go down, right? Instead of 1 or 2 rate cuts, we're going to have 3 or 4 rate cuts because of the dovish Fed. So if that assumption fails, or if the uncertainty persists, then you could have pullbacks, right? I don't think we're going to have big pullbacks because I think probably Trump made some agreement with Warsh that the interest rates are going to go lower, if you like these conspiracy theories. But but it doesn't matter what I think. What matters what the price action, right? How the prices react to this news. So 10-year yield needs to drop to 3.6, right? As long as we're not at 4.36, market is going to have hard time making new highs. So i.e., makes sense to raise cash. So that's stock forecast toolbox. If you switch to longer term view on the same model to the 6 months, this was updated on January 1st. Model gets A++, right? On January 1st, it's 680 is your support, 700 your overhead resistance, spot on, right? You cannot predict usually prices, a month in advance, but this time it's basically, despite the situation, potential war with Iran, bomb in Iran, bomb in Cuba, bomb in Venezuela, putting tariffs on Mexico and Canada and European Union, Powell drama, Warsh, all these news, and the market basically ignoring them, right? Market basically says 680 is your support, 700 is your overhead resistance. This was happened on January 1st. Where end of January, spot on, right? We reached exactly close to 700, plus or minus $1 or $2, and we were at 681, 685. So next month, I mean, model will rerun again, but since we're staying in the range, I assume next month it's going to be the same, 675, right, on spiders. Right, we could be at 675 on spiders, which would be this retracement, and 7,000, right? And we're very close to 7,000 or on SPX or 700 on SPY, and much further from 675, 670, right? So for that reason, you want to consider raising cash, right? And go through these future rehearsal exercises, right? So let's look at the well, February is here. Let's look at March, right? Q1, end of Q1, earnings. NVIDIA is going to announce earnings. We're going to hopefully see more clarity. Government shutdown, right, over the weekend. I think probably at some point probability was again 80% that there will be government shutdown. China-U.S. relationship, tariffs on China. At some point, we need to know if they're actually following their obligations that I review. I think is happening also sooner. Supreme Court decision about tariffs, right? That's also kind of can happen any day. So a lot of uncertainty in the market, right? A lot of uncertainty. If you look at the March demand for March options, you have scenario 6,700, what basically translates into what our neural network AI model says, 6,700. Our model sees 7,000 overhead resistance based on supply and demand. We're at 7,200. Right. So one scenario, we basically, well, let's use our model. Well, yeah, I know. Let's use supply. That's what I use. So one, we're going to get to 7,200. Right. Employment is stable. Earnings are actually pretty good. Right. Most S&P 500 companies beating the earnings estimates. Employment is stable, inflation is stable, and Trump always gets what he wants. So interest rates are down. You don't have escalation in tariffs more than a day or two. So then scenario number one. Scenario number two, tariffs escalation more than 1 or 2 days, right? Couple of weeks, couple months. Then you have scenario number two, maybe maybe PPI data is harder than expected, maybe now CPI data harder than expected, and then we have scenario number two. We're trading. I mean, we're at 7,000. I guess we could get to 7,100. Maybe Google and Amazon are going to save the day, and then we could trade at 7,100 and then 7,800, but somewhere in this range. And then scenario number three, signs of recession, right? Or consensus that there is no rate cuts right now, not till July, right? Probability of rate cuts goes up only in July. I mean, that adjusts every week or so, but So how many of you say scenario number one, up and away? We're going to break 7,000, continue going higher. Scenario number two, no, we're just stuck in this range between 6,800 and 7,000, or 6,700 and 7,100, but somewhere in that range. That's where we're going to spend February and March. And how many of you say no? There's already signs of recession. Verizon is letting go people. Dow Chemical is letting go people because AI is here and gonna take over all the jobs, and Tesla stops producing Model S and X, and they're just gonna build robots, right, to replace human workers. Okay, so how many of you say one, we're up and away? Two, we're trading in the range. Three, we're going much lower. All right, BJ, Dario, Jim, Renata, Robert, Steve, Trader. A lot of people. Thank you for being here. So two, I'm gonna agree with BJ. Two, I think we're trading in the range, at least until we at least stay above 7,000 for a few days. I would be extra careful and consider raising cash, right? And 6,700, 6,800, I think would be probably, depending on the nature of the news, I would say a good reason to step in and start deploying your cash. How do we help on Tradespoon? So model stock forecast toolbox gives you models, short-term, longer-term model predictions. You can see support for the next 10 days. Basically, it says, okay, we can get to 700, maybe 702, but don't be surprised if we see 680, right? 685. So that gives you a clue, the range and the bias. Right now, still slightly bullish bias. We're knocking on the door of 7,000 a couple of times, despite all the negative news, headline news. Market is still at all-time high. So basically, that's a good indication. Long term, it sees, if you look at the 6 months prediction, 680, 700, you can enter any symbols, right? You can, any stock you trade in, any mutual fund you trade in, any ETF you trade in, you can enter the symbol and look at the predictions. You can create your own watch list. Like today, the model signal Caterpillar, Duke Energy, FedEx are in strong uptrend, potentially can outperform the market. Right? Caterpillar is actually outperforming, Duke also outperforming, and FedEx is probably in line. So these are active trader signals, but you can watch your own signals, right? Here's a Caterpillar, Duke Energy, and FedEx. Right, and active trader model gets updated every single day. Weekly trader model gets updated every week, every Sunday. So weekly trader, monthly trader signals generated on Sunday. A lot of people like to trade weekly options or hold position for a couple of weeks, or a couple of months. Then this is weekly, monthly trader. If you want to hold a position for a couple of days, maybe a week, then that's active trader. So active trader signals gets generated every day. You can actually look at the history, what was generated yesterday, 2 days ago. And then you can look at today's and say, okay, do I want exposure to industrials? Caterpillar. Okay, Caterpillar had earnings, had strong earnings, made new all-time highs. Okay, I want to, maybe put a small amount into Caterpillar, and if there is a pullback to 6,900, 6,800, I want to add more to Caterpillar. Right? So that would be active trader. You can also trade options. You can click on options and use the same idea, right? So instead of buying 100 shares of Caterpillar and spending $63,000, you can buy one contract at 705, 637.5. Or if there's a bigger pullback, if it's not a bigger pullback, then it will be 630 plus 35, 665, right? So you would buy Caterpillar 630 call. You could buy, obviously, this Friday if you're day trading, or next Friday, or 2 weeks from now, or monthly. That depends on your trading plan. If you're not sure what your trading plan is, I encourage you to, or you don't have one, take an advantage of opportunity to schedule a consultation, right, with Keith. He can help you with your trading plan. He can give you guidelines. It's a free consultation. Pick a time that's convenient for you next week. It's a good time invested in somebody who spent his life in getting an MBA and I think he has master's degree in math, and worked for large hedge funds and options trading, and he can help you give that professional view to help you become successful in trading, right? So I would encourage you to schedule that call. I'm going to actually put that inside of the questions and send to everybody. Okay. All right, and we do have, so that's, these are the models. Stock forecast toolbox, you can type in any stock that you want to trade, or you already have signals from somewhere else, or you have your own setups, right? This is a very popular tool for people who have their trading plan. They already have signals. They just want another model that can give them these support and resistance levels to help them with position sizing, right? And then every day you get signals. If you need signals using AI, active trader, weekly trader, monthly trader, or you can trade stock, you can options. Active trader suggests 1% move in underlying stocks. So if you buy Caterpillar, 1% is $6. That's your target gain, and that's your stop loss is $6. 1% of underlying stock. If it's illiquid or you're not comfortable trading options, okay, you buy stock with 1% target gain and 1% stop loss. Weekly trader a little bit wider, 2.5%. This is 5% monthly trader. And we give you different guidelines of how to trade it. If you're not sure how to trade it and you don't have time to talk to Keith, you can participate in live trading room, right? Morning bell, closing bell, elite circle, and actually participate in our trades. Today, I'm trying to close Microsoft spread. I initiated stock position, GLW. I closed Amazon, Cisco trades. So you have a combination of both stock and option trades around the earnings, like Amazon and Cisco. And you can also participate in live trading room, watch the recordings, and set up either Discord alert or SMS alert. Right, so that's live trading room, and those are the signals. Any questions? I do have to cut this presentation a little bit earlier because I have to catch a flight. So that's all I have for today. I think the most important is take advantage, either talk to Keith or try one of these models, right? You can look at the pricing information. It'll show you, different services. The lead circle where you can trade, what we actually see what Keith and I are trading. Vlad's portfolio, you can just see my portfolio. Lead circle, you get basically all of the tools as well. And we do give you 30 days money back guarantee. So you can look at either our signals or our signals and tools, right? Like Stock Forecast Toolbox, or you can just follow our spread trades. Renata, QRVO, I think they announced earnings, right? AI is here and semiconductors had a strong earnings. QRVO, they already had earnings. It looks weak, right? As long as it's trading below this trend, right? I would short or sell into the rallies. Model identity this week had Micron. I think we had a signal in Micron. This is the chart you want to buy in pullbacks. QRVO, or you want to sell into rallies. Renata, let me know if it makes sense. And SoFi is the same thing. I think they just had earnings, underwhelming, down. You want to sell into the rallies. Unless there is a reversal intraday, because I think earnings is today actually on SoFi. Right? But, I would at least wait for some kind of a stabilization if you want to buy it. But since it's in downtrend, I would be inclined to sell into the rallies. All right, guys, that's all I have today. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Try to talk to Keith. He likes to talk to people to help traders be successful. Try one of our trading services. You get 30 days money back guarantee. I know some of you are already in live trading room, and I'll see you guys next week. I appreciate a lot of people join. BJ, Dario, Jim, Renata, Robert, Steve, Tim, Michael, John. Thank you very much for joining. And somebody raised hand. I'm not sure. Oh, I can hear. Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much, guys. And I will see you hopefully in live trading room. And have a great weekend. Thank you.